Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trade and Connectivity Challenge 2021 virtual briefing session with dnata. My name is Billy Law, representing Agorize and Enterprise Singapore as a moderator of this session. Today, it is our pleasure to have the dnata innovation team. We have Ashraf, Annie, and Desmond to walk us through the ins and outs of the challenge statement, awaiting for your solution. The rundown for today's session is fairly straightforward. We'll start off with the dnata team presenting the challenge statement, which is a hardware solution that can improve passenger experience by enabling contactless food delivery services in highly protected areas such as airports. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to submit your questions on the Q&A panel of this Zoom webinar. And please note that this session is recorded. It's being recorded, and then it will be uploaded onto the challenge platform at tradeandconnectivity.innovation-challenge.sg for future viewing. So now, without further ado, I'll pass the mic to the dnata team. Ashraf, thank you.
Thank you so much, Billy, for the introduction. So I think I'll share my screen first. Okay, so thank you all for attending this virtual briefing. Without further ado, I'll just go ahead with the briefing. So I think before we start into the actual briefing session, I think we should kind of like introduce ourselves. So I'm part of the dnata's innovation team. So I'm the project executive for the team. And I think in this call also we have Hani, who is the business analyst. And also we have Edward, who is not in this call, but he's also a very integral part of our team. And just a very quick idea of what we do as a team. We lead and develop some innovative strategies to support the various transformation goals that we have here at dnata. We also generate innovative ideas by identifying user pain points and also needs, and also lead brainstorming processes and perform market research to identify certain solutions that are already existing or potential to kind of develop these solutions into our daily operations. So next slide. Just a quick introduction of dnata. I'm not really sure that everyone is aware who we are. So dnata is basically a ground handling company specializing in ground handling, cargo, passenger services, and also flight catering services. And we operate in 35 different countries in 6 continents. We have headquarters in Dubai, and we are also part of the Emirates Group. So moving on to the challenge statement, I think Billy has briefly touched upon our challenge statement, which is a hardware solution that can improve passenger experience by enabling contactless food delivery services in highly protected areas like the airports. The reason why we came up with this challenge statement is that we've realized some pain points pre-COVID and also during COVID, and no matter which kind of context or situation, I believe that these pain points and experiences it's common across any context. So one of it is obviously the long distances between dates, shops, and restaurants. You might be at gate A20, but you would like to have your favorite food from the retail area and dining area, which is probably 5 to 10 minutes away, and you might be catching a flight in due time, and you don't have enough time to kind of like go there and do what's necessary. So this is one of the pain points. And like I said, inadequate time to shop and dine. Maybe you're rushing for a flight. Maybe you got caught in a traffic jam. So with the kind of challenge statement that we put up, so we thought that this is one of the areas that we can kind of tackle also. And with COVID that we have right now, although things are looking good again, and we are trying to live in an endemic, world, there will still be restrictions due to the safety, and other regulations in place, such as right now, transiting passengers are restricted to the places that they can go. Passengers, once they step out the plane, they are being ushered and directed to a certain area to kind of like wait for the next flight. So they are not really allowed to roam freely as before. So these are some of the things that passengers face nowadays, and I think being able to come up with a solution that will allow them to still visit the shops or restaurants virtually, even though you can't physically be there. I think it will be a good way to kind of like improve the experiences. Of course, we're also looking at something that would be very much applicable post pandemic as well. So yeah, some of the things that we are thinking about as well. And also wayfinding challenges. If someone is not familiar of the airport, the terminal, not a frequent flyer, they wouldn't be familiar with what's around or where to get certain stuff or some souvenirs that they would like to get. So with this, of course, it will require more time to navigate their way around the airport. And um, with the challenge statement that we propose, it is supposed to be kind of like easing the burden of the passengers in terms of wayfinding, so that they don't have to waste the time, navigate, and stuff like that. And this brings in about with the complexity of the terminal layout. Like I said earlier, some people are not really familiar with the airport, even though there's very clear signs and wayfinding signages and whatnot. But because as a passenger, you are in a very precarious position, you're very time sensitive, you are very stressed out because of a lot of different things that you need to be aware of in terms of documents, in terms of your flights and stuff like that. So passengers tend to kind of like, don't really have that focus to kind of navigate their way through the airport. So I think in a sense, we would like to kind of like ease the burden of the passenger, also improving passenger experience. Yeah. So I think with that, the kind of like solution that we're looking at, some of the details and requirements that we would like to have is obviously, it's a solution that can that allows passengers to collect food via device to locker system or any sort of collection system that would require no human interaction at all. This could be like something like locker system that SingPost and other delivery companies have in place, where they will put in their packages or parcels somewhere remote, and then you go ahead and you collect by inputting a PIN, etc. Something of that kind. And also because we're handling food, certain food you will require certain temperatures to to maintain or preserve the quality of the food. So it's essential that there's some sort of temperature control inside the storage compartments. Also, it needs to have a sort of intuitive control interface, so that whether it's the user or whether it's the vendors who are either collecting or delivering the items, they do not face any issues trying to navigate and use the system to either collect or deliver. Also, because it's going to be in an environment where it will be 24/7 operational, it's best that it has a durable battery life to cover those peak periods where the solution has to be operational for long periods of time without actually going to be charged and have some downtime. And obviously, it has to be able to have a stable connection, so that the operators or the vendors can control remotely without any connectivity issues and stuff like that. And because it's going to be mainly handling food, but not limited to, and also because of the recent awareness of hygiene and cleanliness, I think it'll be a plus point if the solution can disinfect by itself without frequent requirement for a person to be down there to physically disinfect the solution or the product. And because we are looking at a self-navigating like autonomous solution, it should be able to project some sort of visuals or audio to inform passengers or people walking to and fro across the pathway of the solution or product, so that there wouldn't be any collision or injuries throughout that the process. And like I said, obviously we are looking at something that wouldn't only work during the pandemic period, but something that you can still make full use of post-pandemic, and it shouldn't be just restricted just in a pandemic kind of environment. So we are definitely looking for something that is sustainable, that we can bring this forward into the future without much change required in terms of operational procedures and requirements, and a lot of hardware changes just because of the change in the operational environment. Yeah. So I think just to wrap what I've said past few minutes, it's basically we're looking at a fully autonomous solution, to collect and deliver food. So at this time we are looking specifically at food, but obviously it's not limited to only food. So this is just an area that we're looking at. So to collect and deliver food, it's able to self-navigate within the transit area in Changi Airport. And I think knowing the terminal layout and the kind of obstacles that we have at Changi Airport, whether it's inanimate objects like the seats, or like wayfinding signages or information counters and stuff like that, and also people, especially when the passengers come back. There's a lot of people going through the terminal during peak periods and whatnot. The size of the solution should not affect the agility and the maneuverability of the said solution to kind of navigate through the airport. And also, just to put a perspective, currently we are looking at a working POC within the budget of 10,000. I think that pretty much covers a lot of the stuff that we would like to go through, even though it's been really quick, but I think I've managed to cover the gist of the kind of solution that we're looking at, the challenge statements and so forth. So I think with that, we have come to the end of my presentation. So I think right now we can start taking any questions available. Yeah, I think back to you, Billy.
Thank you so much, Ashraf. That was a really clear and detailed presentation. Thank you so much. So for attendees, if you have any questions, you can now ask on the Q&A. We'll wait for maybe a couple of seconds for you to just digest the content a little bit. In the meantime, if Desmond or Henny, if you have anything else to add, feel free to do so. Not sure we'll have a lot of questions because it was actually very clear when I was listening to it. Right. Okay. All right. So I think that's a good testament of your great presentation, Ashraf. Thank you so much.
I guess that's a a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, if for the attendees, if you have any further questions, don't worry. I mean, it might come back to you. That's fine. You can feel free to ask on the challenge platform. We'll be sharing any of your inquiries to the dnata team. But if you're new to this, if this is the first time you've heard about TCC, we sincerely invite you to register on our challenge platform, which is tradeandconnectivity.innovation-challenge.sg. And well, I hope the session provided you with some good insights and better clarity on the challenges that dnata is facing. First, we have William, who has a message for us. Who can I contact so as to present our proposed solutions? Okay, I think that's a question for me, actually. So how this is going to work is you will submit your proposal on the challenge platform. And to be honest, I think, William, I think I see your participation already. So that's great. Later on, we'll go through 2 stages of shortlisting. And then once you're shortlisted, we'll move you on to the mentoring phase, where you'll be connected to the dnata team. And they'll be mentoring you, giving you more insights and support to work on the second solution, the second proposal. And then once you are shortlisted, even after that phase, then you'll move on to the final phase where you'll be pitching to the final jury. And then we'll be selecting the winners and the winning startups at the end. Okay. So stay tuned. We'll be looking forward to seeing everyone's submissions by December 30th. And before we wrap up today, if there's anything else from Ashraf and the team, closing remarks?
I've got nothing to add, but yeah, I mean, if anyone has any question, I think you can always approach Billy, and then I think Billy will kind of like connect us with the kind of questions and clarifications that is required. So yeah.
All right, great. Thank you so much. So yeah, so that ends today's briefing session. Again, thank you very much, Nina and our team, for taking the time, and also our attendees. I appreciate you taking the time. We look forward to seeing you very soon. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too, Billy. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Really appreciate taking your time out to attend this virtual briefing session. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.